And what is up, everybody? Just finished watching UFC 200. I'm wearing the UFC. This is the UFC 100 T-shirt because, I don't know if they've ever made a UFC 200 T-shirt. And when I originally got this shirt, when UFC 100 was out, um, basically I was making a lot more money, and I was able to buy a new shirt every week, a new MMA shirt every week. This happened to be one of them. And kicking it off with the main card, Cain Velasquez versus Travis Brown, and Cain Velasquez wins by TKO. Saw that coming a mile away. Nothing against Travis Brown. He's a tough dude, but that's it. Not a very talented fighter, but very very tough, and that's why he could pull off some pretty big upsets like his ridiculous upset against Alistair Overeem. All right, moving on to for the interim featherweight championship. And Frankie Edgar, the first time Frankie Edgar and Jose Aldo fought, I said to myself, that was so close. Frankie Edgar was so close, closer than so many other fighters before him. I figured if the two of them were to ever fight again, Frankie Edgar would win the second time. Here's the problem. Frankie Edgar should have had this rematch, way before Conor McGregor ever showed up. So entirely too much time had passed between when he should have fought Jose Aldo to now. And this time, again, it goes the distance. The problem is Frankie Edgar, as fast as he was not connecting nearly as much. He was trying to do these high kicks, these spinning back kicks. This is stuff you never see from him before, and I'm wondering why the hell is he wasting his energy doing this? Made absolutely no sense. Couldn't score a takedown on Jose Aldo. And Jose Aldo basically just outstruck him and just bloodied him up, for most of the fight. And this is his second time holding the featherweight title, even though it's just the interim belt. Now we gotta wait for Conor McGregor's dumbass to finish fighting Nick Diaz for the second time, and he's not going to be and I don't see him going up against for the lightweight title anytime soon. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Then from that you had Daniel Cormier versus Anderson Silva, thanks to John Jones messing up again. Well, I don't want to necessarily say that he messed up, because especially with a lot of the anti-doping laws, the USADA, whatever, all they said was he tested positive for something that might have. So so that doesn't necessarily mean that he was juicing or that he was high, or anything like that. From what I from what I gather, the only sport that they do this to is mixed martial arts. They don't do this to boxing. They don't do this to football. They don't do it to basketball or baseball. Mixed martial arts is the only time this shows up. So many people, it's ridiculous, and they've been doing it for a long time. And now, because mixed martial arts has become more prevalent a sport, now all of a sudden it's popping up all over the place. All these people tested positive for something. They don't even say what it is. And they just say, "Oh yeah, they tested positive." For what exactly? So I don't know what was going on. If it was just something that USADA made up, then that's too bad for John Jones. If John Jones was doing something, was trying to be slick again, doing something shady, then he got what he deserves. He's suspended for this time for at least 2 years. So, if he was stupid enough to do that again, he got what he deserved. But for Anderson Silva to take the fight on 48 hours notice after just finished having gallbladder surgery, Anderson Silva, I've said this so many times before, no takedown defense whatsoever. And he also liked to, that long, lanky style of keeping the fighter at bay. But you can't do that with Daniel Cormier because Daniel Cormier knows how to get inside. He knows how to get inside guys' reaches, and that's exactly what he did for 3 rounds. Got inside Anderson. Now, granted, Anderson Silva was fast. It was very, very fast. Almost caught him. Almost caught him a couple of times. Daniel Cormier keeping his guard up, gets inside, takes him down. Bam, pounds him for a little. Pounds him for a little while. Stand back up. Same thing. Gets inside. Bam, takes him down. Over and over again. But at the same time, he didn't beat Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva ran out of time. Anderson Silva lost the fight. But Daniel Cormier didn't really beat him because especially towards the end, I think he it was either a liver shot or maybe he caught him in dislocated a rib or something because he was really wincing in pain, and especially Anderson Silva, definitely a lot faster, a much faster striker, but was not able to utilize that to really do any serious damage to Cormier, not to mention knock him out at all. And Daniel Cormier won, via unanimous decision. Then, of course, Mark Hunt versus Brock Lesnar. I've been waiting for this fight since Mark Hunt first showed up in UFC. I couldn't wait for this fight. I love Mark Hunt, and I love Brock Lesnar when he came in as well. So I was impartial as far as because I a bunch of my friends are Brock Lesnar haters. Never liked him when he first got started. Definitely don't like him now. But I wanted Mark Hunt to win this fight because I wanted Mark Hunt back in title contention. Doesn't look like it's going to happen now. Basically, the first round, he got taken down a bunch of times. Mark Hunt got taken down a bunch of times. And looks like it took a lot out of him. Second round, it looked like Mark Hunt was catching his rhythm. Brock couldn't take him down. Mark Hunt, getting inside, but moving too slow, and caught him with a couple combinations, but not necessarily enough to really hurt Brock Lesnar, even though he did cut him a bit. Third round, Brock Lesnar manages to take him down and hold him down for the entire round, just pounding away on him. And like I said, Brock Lesnar already won the UFC title, and then this was one hell of a promotion for his SummerSlam match come August 21st. And I don't even like WWE anymore. Look at me advertising for them. Boo WWE. Don't watch SummerSlam. So Brock, he even for 38 years old coming in here, beating up a top 10 heavyweight, and he was this was the best Brock. He was in much better shape than when he first came into UFC. All right, and he came in in spectacular fashion. Won. Clearly won the fight. And it's a shame we're not going to, I don't know how much more of Brock Lesnar we're going to be seeing. Mark Hunt, I feel bad because, like I said, if he'd have won this fight, if he'd have knocked Brock Lesnar out or at least just outclassed him, if he'd have done that for this fight, he'd have been back in the title contention. He'd have been back in the title picture. Now I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. And it's sad because Mark Hunt's one of my favorite fighters, and I really want him to at least have some form of mixed martial arts title to his credit. I mean, he won the K1 Grand Prix in 2001. That was the highest accolade that you could achieve in kickboxing. So for him to have done that at least one time, at least win one mixed martial arts title. He came pretty close in Pride when he fought Fedor. Fedor managed to catch him. And he came pretty close against Fabricio Verdum, beating the snot out of Verdum till that second round where he caught a knee. So it's sad. It really is sad. And I hope he's got some, I hope he's got a few like, has a few gallons of gas left in the tank, because like I really want to see him fight and win, win the UFC title, or any MMA title. To be honest, it's just that UFC's the organization he's in right now. Then of course, for the new main event, since John Jones, uh, couldn't keep his nose clean. Miesha Tate versus Amanda Nunes. Now, Miesha Tate just finished winning the UFC title in a very devastating fashion against Holly Holm. I've never seen Amanda Nunes fight. It's tough for me. It really is tough for me to try to, keep on top of all these fights that UFC keeps putting out, and especially since I don't get paid to watch any of them, even though I would absolutely love to. I mean, one of my friend Oluwale Bongbose, his last fight in UFC, he's a UFC fighter. His last fight it was in UFC, and in order to watch the fight, you had to get UFC Fight Pass. I've caught all of his fights live. The 3 fights he's had in UFC, I've caught all of them live. So I went and got a subscription. I overdrew my bank account to see this guy fight, and and then when I realized what was at my disposal with a subscription to UFC Fight Pass, I started binge watching from UFC's 13 all the way to UFC 42, because that is the gap that I had not of UFC events that I had not seen up until UFC 43, all the way into the 50s, and this is during my time in the Marine Corps, and I just kept buying all the DVDs, and I bought all the classics. UFC's 1 through 9. I've seen UFC's 9, 8, 4, 5, 3, all of those on VHS when I was 18 years old. So I just started binge watching all these old UFCs, and a majority of them didn't show the preliminary bouts. And then there's all these other organizations and all these other fights to try to, to try to really do your homework on some of these fighters. Now it's almost like for a casual fan, it's impossible to keep up. Nonetheless, even somebody like me, I don't consider myself a casual fan, and even I can't keep up as much as these guys do. I'm not like an Ariel Helwani who, gets paid to, cover all this stuff, man. That's not the, that's clearly not the case with me. So I've never seen Amanda Nunes fight. So I was not expecting to see a female Anderson Silva. Now, mind you, this is the same thing I've said about Ronda Rousey and what I've said about Chris Cyborg. All these other fighters in UFC, they're good girl fighters. Ronda Rousey fights like a dude. Chris Cyborg is basically Vanderlei Silva with breasts. It's the same thing with Amanda Nunes. What I saw in that cage tonight, first off, I don't know what Miesha Tate was doing. Whatever it wasn't fighting. I really feel sorry for her. Whatever she was doing, it wasn't fighting. And I see Amanda Nunes step in and basically do what Anderson Silva couldn't do that night, and just dominate with the striking, and then ultimately pull off a submission victory in the first round. And so congratulations to Amanda Nunes. Feel bad for Miesha Tate though, but at the same time, she also, just like Ronda Rousey, has both the Strikeforce and UFC title, to their credit. Good on her. I hope, I hope she learns from this loss and comes back. Still waiting for Ronda Rousey to make a return. And of course, the big announcement for the next UFC being, uh, you know, for the welterweight title, Robbie Lawler versus Tyron Woodley. As much as I love Robbie Lawler, I can pretty much guarantee Tyron Woodley is going to be the new welterweight champion. Robbie, now mind you, Robbie Lawler deserves the title. He absolutely deserves the title. But he's not as fast as Tyron Woodley. He's not as strong as Tyron Woodley. He's not as good a wrestler as Tyron Woodley. Nothing about Robbie Lawler, nothing about Robbie Lawler tells me that he could actually beat Tyron Woodley. Unless he catches, now granted, everybody's got a puncher's chance. We'll see what happens. Up until then, I'm done talking. You guys have a good night.